Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our program this morning. It's still afternoon here. It's 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Folks, I told you that I was not going to give up on Maui. I told you all that I would not give up on Maui. I was not going to give up on the students in Maui, the children of Maui. My question still stands. Where are the children? Where are the children? This is going to be my question forever until the powers that be give up the information. Until the powers that be tell us the truth about exactly what is going on in Maui, Hawaii. I'm going to give you some information today that might turn things a little bit upside down. I'm going to first talk about the fire in Maui. On August 8th, 2023, a wildfire started in the mountainous area, the outback of Maui. And firefighters said they had it under control and put it out. About an hour later, they got another call in that same area and the fire had started again. Now, I know firefighters. I was one of them. You don't ever leave a fire until all the embers of the fire are gone. It's not smoldering, it's not putting up smoke, it's not doing anything. You don't leave. The fire started up again. Then 2, then 3, then 4 more fires start. All over Maui, Lahaina area. Now, quite honestly, I'm fed up with the company line that these were just wildfires. They started from electrical Hawaii power lines. I'm going to pull the gauntlet on that right now. And I'm going to help my fellow firefighters because I used to fight fires before I became a cop. And even then, as a cop, I assisted firefighters on fire lines of wildfires all over Southern California and Denver. I'm tired of what this has become. Too many people are still missing. Too many people are still not accounted for. Too many children are not accounted for, and the government is lying about it. And I have the proof. Now, earlier yesterday, David Ben-Nun, who is from Israeli News Live, got together with Dave Hodges, and they put a program on that was over an hour and a half long. Now, folks, mine is not going to be that long today, but Dave Hodges has the same information that I do, but I think our information is slightly different. That's why I'm coming on the air. I want to make sure everyone is understanding what happened with the Maui wildfires, what caused the fires in Maui and Lahaina, Hawaii. I'm going to tell you right now, without a doubt, that DEW weapons were used. DEW weapons were used. Whether it came from a plane, a helicopter, or a satellite in space, DEW weapons were used. There is no evidence whatsoever that power lines from Maui or Hawaii Electric caused a fire. Why? Why am I saying that? Because, guys, it is now common knowledge that the Hawaii and Maui Electric had nothing to do with it. They had shut off their power lines. They shut off the power to their power equipment. There is no way that the power lines could have caused this fire. And I'm going to go another step further. Remember those lines of people that were lined up on the main highway coming out of Lahaina, Hawaii, leading to safety? And Chief Pelletier, Chief of Police in Maui, gave his troops orders not to let anyone leave, put their patrol cars up in a fashion as to block the access for people to leave Lahaina, causing traffic to back up for miles, causing people to be incinerated in their cars as a result of the Chief of Police's order. What the hell happened? What the hell happened? Vehicles were found the next day, completely incinerated, where they sat, idling, waiting for permission to leave Lahaina. And permission was not given, and in fact, the Maui police stopped the citizens that were there waiting to leave. And many people there, I'm going to say hundreds of people, died in those cars as they were waiting to leave Lahaina. I know of families, children and parents, that were incinerated where they sat in those cars. I know for a fact that that happened. I know for a fact it happened. I'm going to talk about some facts, some brass tacks. Folks, I'm going to ask some hard questions. I know we may never get answers to it unless heavy metal comes crashing down onto the government. And I'm hoping that's exactly what happens, because I, Dave Hodges, Mr. Banoon, is not going to let up until we get answers. And it's answers that we demand. We just don't want, we demand answers. The heat of the fire, the heat of that normal wildfire burned at least 2,400 degrees. Metal of the cars, doors, handholds on the cars, windows, metal all over the cars melted. Even engine blocks melted at the scene of the fire. Why? Why? Because dew weapons heated up that fire to more than 2,400 degrees. I'm going to say upwards of 5,000 degrees. Now, I don't have it right now with me, but I do have videos showing the fire going on, showing the smoke and the fire going on. And in those videos, you can make out two helicopters. You can make out two helicopters that were flying over the fire. I'm going to ask a simple question now. Why were those helicopters flying over the fire when the temporary air restrictions were in place to keep anyone from flying over the fire? Temporary flight restrictions. The TFRs were in place to keep aircraft out of the area. Why were those helicopters flying over the area? Two military-style helicopters. One that could hold probably upwards of 50 people. The other, a smaller helicopter. Why were they flying? We were told that no aircraft were allowed to fly over that area, and no aircraft, even drones, are allowed to fly over that area still. Why? Now, those of you that have been with me for a while now know that I talked about 182 bodies that were washed up on shore of a nearby island called Lanai. A nearby island northwest of Maui called Lanai. It has now come out that some of those bodies who washed up on shore had bullet holes in them. Were those helicopters responsible for some of those deaths? What about the 700 bodies in the Maui hospital morgue? How about the 360 bodies in the reefer trailers at the Maui Police Department? John Pelletier's job was police chief. Why and how was he given the title of chief medical examiner by the city of Maui? That was illegal. That was illegal, folks. Finally, a couple, 3 weeks ago, we got the Hawaii State Medical Examiner to come over to Maui and take over to identify bodies and the remains of people that lived in Lahaina and Maui. What happened to the children of that area? More than 2,000 children from Lahaina public schools are still missing after the Maui wildfires. In a deeply concerning development, the State of Hawaii Department of Education reported that 2,025, and we've now found out that 2,401 students remain unaccounted for. 2,401 students remain unaccounted for in Lahaina public school system following the devastating fire of August 8th in Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii. 2,401 of the 3,000 public school students in Lahaina have not yet enrolled in another public school. Hawaii officials say that a number of students are still missing. Killed in Maui fires, they say the number of students still missing is too small to release. Hawaii officials are saying that the number of students that were killed in the Maui wildfires is too small to release. Really? Really? When the Department of Education in Hawaii tells us that there's 2,400 students plus missing, and yet they're on the other side of the coin saying, oh, the numbers are too small to release. The Hawaii Department of Education says the number of students listed as missing or killed in Lahaina is so small that releasing that number would violate their privacy. That's what the Hawaii Department of Education is leaning on to protect themselves. Superintendent Keith Hayashi said the department knows the whereabouts and education plans of most of the some 3,000 students who had been enrolled in Lahaina before the fire. Hayashi said 907 of them had enrolled in the state's distant learning program and 782 have enrolled in other public schools. Nearly 345 students are now enrolled in charter schools, private schools, or have withdrawn. That's interesting, because the numbers don't lie. Hayashi's lying through his teeth. The deadly wildfire on August 8th destroyed a lot of ground, as you can see here. Destroyed a ton of ground. King Kamehameha High School was destroyed in the wildfire. I'm sorry, not high school. King Kamehameha, the third elementary school in Lahaina, was burned to the ground. And not just that, but all 3 of the other public schools in town are closed until officials determine that the air and the water are safe to admit students back to those schools. As of Monday, they said nearly 60% of the 3,000 public school students in Lahaina, a historic town west of Maui, had not enrolled in another public school, or they had not signed up for remote learning classes. In other words, distance learning via computer, essentially vanishing from the public school system. 60% of the 3,000 public school students vanished from the school system. Kalani pointed out that Maui County has a list with names of people who are unaccounted for. The Maui Police Department is the lead on making those investigations, and has been the lead from the very beginning when Pelletier was deemed the chief medical examiner until the state medical examiner came in and took over. And then the privacy rests with the parents to disclose whether those students that were killed were their kids. The privacy rests with the parents. There's a lot of anxiety because the students aren't identified as safe or deceased. Susan Picola Davis said, "What I don't understand is why. Why haven't the calls been made? Why have the calls not been made?" Last week, actually 2 weeks ago, the death toll remained at 115 with 60 individuals identified. Really? Really? Then why are there still 700 bodies at the Maui hospital in the morgue? They haven't even begun to touch 182 individuals that washed up on the beaches of Lanai. They have not even touched the 360 people that reside in 9 reefer trailers in the Maui police parking lot. Each trailer in housing 40 bodies that are kept cool in those reefer trailers. Okay? They're not even touching on that, and yet they're reducing the number of remaining people that have not been identified. Really? Now, let me take this a step further. Okay? Let me take this a step further. Sister Gabriella over there in Hawaii on the Big Island in Hilo is saying that parents, families, and friends of the missing children are being silenced. You're absolutely right. They are being silenced. And I have proof of that. A lot of us have proof of that. Now, let's take it a step further. Remember several weeks ago when President Biden, before he came to Hawaii, was asked about what he thought about the Hawaii on Maui, Hawaii, about the fire on Maui, Hawaii? He said he didn't know. He didn't have a comment. He had not been told, allegedly. The President of the United States had not been told. This is a national event. This is an incident where the President of the United States should have been notified. And yet this man who is on the last end of his life, I'm not saying he's going to die, but I'm saying he is incapable of even doing the duties of the President of the United States. He can't keep a sentence together. He can't talk with any reasonable clarity. And even when he has note cards in front of him, he can't even read them. And this is the President of the United States. He didn't even know about the fire. And when he came to Maui, he was clueless. When he came to Maui and there were other officials talking, Biden fell asleep. Yes, President Biden fell asleep. What kind of crap is that? Everybody knew about the fire before Biden did. And I can guarantee you that Obama knew. And all the other people in Congress knew. Of course they did. Why wasn't the President of the United States notified? And when was he notified? Okay? Sister Gabrielle in Hawaii is saying, I hear and don't watch MSN, which is mainstream news, but they are not covering Lahaina anymore. You're right, they are not. Even the mainstream news over on Maui, Channel 4, Channel 2, KHON, Hawaii News Now, they're not touching it. They're walking away from it. And if they do touch it, they touch the outskirts of the fire. They're not delving in to get answers anymore. I have a feeling they are in cahoots with the government to stay quiet and not give any information out. Okay? Sister Gabrielle is asking another question, and this deserves an answer. Where is Congress on this? Naturally, we would assume that our House of Representatives and the United States Senate Representatives would know about Hawaii and would know about Lahaina. Why are they not investigating this? I know they would have the same amount of questions I do. Why are they not talking about this? I would love for everybody that listens to this program to talk and write your congressmen, senators included, and ask them what is going to be done about Maui. What are they going to do about Maui? What are they going to do to investigate what happened? Because there are enough questions without answers. Yes, there are also answers that most people don't want to touch, including the mainstream media. Now, as I have told you before, there were a lot of companies that were involved with the developers of Maui. Why was it that Governor Green, one day before the fire on August 7th, signed a proclamation that said if anything happened to West Maui and Lahaina, that he would allow developers to go in and reestablish Lahaina as they saw fit? Why is that? Why has Governor Green and Mayor Bisson been part of the 15-minute city proclamations and the meetings over on Maui and over in Hawaii? Why have they been talking about this? This was all the plan. The Maui fire was a planned fire. It was planned to destroy property. It was planned to kill people. Rob 52 says the government doesn't care about them or us. Rob, you're right. You're absolutely right. What has happened in Maui is unexcusable. What has happened in Maui is unexcusable. Totally and absolutely inexcusable. I'm showing you a picture of a woman, a single woman with 2 children, comforting them because their schools have been destroyed and everything they know has been destroyed. Firefighters and police officers and their families have had their homes and everything they knew destroyed. Completely uprooted their families. What do we know about it? What do we know about it? George Rashad is here in the chat. He says no $10 million properties were destroyed. Or not 10 million, he says no $1 million properties were destroyed. Tom Hanks' property was not destroyed. Oprah's 2,200 acres was not touched. And I can name another 5 celebrities that I know of whose properties were not touched either. Now, folks, I'm serious about this. I'm dead serious. Now, I'm going to be naming some names here. BlackRock. You all know who BlackRock is. It's a company that's been affiliated with the government for a lot of years. A lot of years. Back during the Bush administration, Mr. Cheney had a company, and his company also did business with BlackRock. And every time something happens here in the United States, BlackRock always comes up. That name always comes up. S. North says time for citizen's arrest. I could agree with that as well, and I do agree with it. Let's go a step further. Last week I told you that I received a t-shirt from Eric West, who is a realtor over in Maui. 2.5 weeks ago, Eric West had been putting up videos showing the devastation in Maui and Lahaina, talking to citizens and residents and victims of Maui. Not doing anything wrong, but trying to drum up support for GoFundMe pages for these people. Helping to raise money to get back what these people lost. Possibly help reestablish homes or places for them to live. Eric West did nothing wrong. Eric West had been working for Keller Williams until he started doing his videos showing the devastation from the fires and interviewing resident victims and also seeing what happened. Eric West had raised money for people. Eric West got too close to what was going on. Keller Williams is also one of the companies, one of the developing companies that wants to get in on developing Lahaina and West Maui now. I believe Eric West got too close and Keller Williams fired him. Eric West had gotten too close to what was really going on. Eric West was recognized as Realtor of the Year for customer service out of 500 real estate professionals in his previous nationwide company. Realtor of the Year. Eric West is also well known in Hawaii for his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel talking about Hawaii real estate. But he is also one who is prompt, professional, discreet, and a tireless advocate for his clients, both buyers and sellers. Eric West has been over on the island of Maui for 14 years. As a longtime Hawaii resident, Eric is known as a true expert in Hawaii real estate. Your sale, whether buyer or seller, will be managed calmly and intelligently, ensuring your confidence every step of the way. Yet, Eric got too close to the Maui Fire, and Keller Williams fired him. Questions. Now, right after Eric went on the air on YouTube on his channel to tell us that Keller Williams fired him, he was asking all of us to not ruffle Keller Williams' feathers. I'm sorry, guys. I am now going to ruffle Keller Williams' feathers, as well as BlackRock and anybody else that is involved in what has happened on Maui. Okay? Eric West and his son were fired by Keller Williams because he made videos. He verified what was going on. Pam Miller said that in chat too. It's very interesting how all of this happens. And yet, the politicians who stand allegedly to protect the people are not doing that. They're not doing that. They're doing the exact opposite. Dave Hodges yesterday made a statement about Governor Green in Hawaii, calling him gangrene. Governor Gangrene in Hawaii, because everything he's touched has turned to gangrene. He planned what was going on. He was part of the electric 15-minute city planning that had been going on before the fire and is now in full swing. Even as of last week, Governor Green and Mayor Bisson were heavily involved in the 15-minute city planning. Yes, it's still ongoing. Now, what else is going on? Folks, we have people that, and I'm not trying to put this organization down. Because quite frankly, Reverend Billy Graham was a great man, and so is his son. But there is a offshoot of Billy Graham organization that may also be involved here. They're over there in non-hazmat suits, civilian clothing. They're taking samples. They're taking samples of the soil over there in Lahaina and West Maui. They are loading 50-gallon drum barrels of soil. 6 inches of soil from that entire area is being put into 50-gallon drums and shipped to the mainland, to an undisclosed location. That is wrong. That is so wrong. This is wrong on one hand, where the culture of the Hawaiian people is being violated. Taking sacred ground from Hawaii and taking it over to the mainland to dispose of it, to hide evidence. Yeah, folks, hiding evidence. None of those people are in hazmat gear. None of those people are wearing hazmat suits or respirators, and yet they're gathering evidence, putting it in 50-gallon drums to haul it to the mainland. Mayor Bisson and Governor Gangrene, yes, I'm going to call him Gangrene as well, they are putting up those mesh fences to keep people out of the area. Eric West 2 weeks ago was parked alongside of the highway. He and his son were filming that area, up over the fence line of those mesh fences. Eric West had the police department there and basically arrested him. The sheriff's office got up there. Eric West had lost his front license plate on his truck. Usually that's a fix-it ticket. But they issued a regular non-moving violation ticket to Eric West for not having a front license plate. How do I know it's usually a fix-it ticket? Because in every police department I know, that's the case. but Eric West was given a ticket to appear in court to talk to a judge. One other factor is that the governor had issued an emergency proclamation to keep people out of that area, so they would not be able to film what's going on in that area. Well, Governor Gangrene's proclamation is allegedly a state of emergency proclamation, which is now illegal. It's been deemed illegal. I don't know whether Eric West has visited the judge about this or not, but the governor's proclamation is illegal. Number one, there is no state of emergency after the fires have been out. Why are they letting people drive down those highways unimpeded if there's a state of emergency? If someone else had to pull over on the side of the road because their vehicle had broken down, what would have happened to them? Would they have also been issued a ticket to appear before a judge to answer the fact that they were in an area that was under the state of emergency proclamation? Really? Linda Covington says a fellow podcaster, Joe Rogan, talked about this the other day. I'm not going to back off on it. Rob52 says in Arizona they only need the back plate. In North Carolina, where I live, you only need the rear plate as well. Okay? What I'm saying, guys, is the governor issues a proclamation that's illegal, violating constitutional law. Where else have we heard this? The New Mexico governor, Governor Grisham, issued an executive proclamation allegedly under a health warning so people could no longer carry weapons, either concealed or open carry. That was also proven to be a violation of constitutional law, and Governor Grisham has had to answer for that to a federal court. And there's also a lawsuit against Governor Grisham right now. When your own sheriff of your county says he's not going to follow through with the governor's order, the sheriff is the #1 law enforcement officer in that county. The police chief in Albuquerque said the same thing. He would not enforce the governor's order. Unlawful conduct by governors. Okay? Unlawful conduct by governors. Folks, I don't know about you, but I'm really tired of this, and I'm not going to let it go until we get some answers. Number one, where are the children? Where are the 2,401 children that are missing from Lahaina school district's Hawaii school district's count of students? Why? Where are they? How many Lahaina residents are really missing? They still not come up with a number of missing people that is substantial given the information that we have of people that are either in morgues, washed up on beaches, or in the temporary morgues of reefer trucks in Maui. FBI and county officials said last Friday the number of people confirmed missing in the aftermath of the fire has dropped to 66. Really? Really? FBI and Maui County have said the numbers dropped to 69. Really? How come we have over 2,401 students that are still missing? And how many other residents are also missing? The FBI is also another organization we cannot trust, and we've proven that. We've actually proven that. They can't be trusted. They're in the Democrat communist back pockets, in the back pockets of the county officials in Maui, confirming in the aftermath of the fire only 66 people with an initial 80 people who could be missing, but whose information has not been vetted enough to confirm one way or the other. 66 and 80, what's that? That is 148 people. See where the numbers don't jive? 66 or 80. 66 and 80, it says an additional 80 people. They have not been able to vet either missing or dead. Why did they not list the names of the 80 unverified people? Why not? Why not? At the beginning of this program, I asked the question, who or what started the fire in Lahaina? Maui wildfires, what we know so far, was the title of an article in the New York Times. At first, Hawaii Electric acknowledged in late August that its power lines ignited a fire on the early morning of August 8th. But the utility said its lines weren't carrying any current by the time fires erupted in the mid-afternoon and destroyed Lahaina. What ignited the fires in that area? Police said that the reason why they were not allowing anyone to leave the Lahaina area was that they were concerned about people crossing over down power lines, but none of those power lines were energized. None of those power lines were energized. So this was a conspiracy to murder. Yes, I'm going to say it now. As anyone with enough evidence as I have that I have seen would come to know that this is a murder investigation. Chief Pelletier, if I was in Maui right now, you'd be going to jail. I would be arresting you for conspiracy to murder. You gave the order to your police officers to barricade the highway, which would have allowed people to leave the fire scene in Lahaina. And many of those people died in their cars as a result of your order. Chief Pelletier, you need to be resigning immediately and turn yourself over to county officials to be put in jail pending a possible trial for conspiracy of murder. Mayor Bisson, the same thing. You need to resign immediately and turn yourself over to county sheriff's department officials to be arraigned on conspiracy of murder. Governor Gangrene, Governor Josh Green, you need to resign immediately. I call for your immediate resignation right now. There is enough evidence linking you to wrongdoing here in Maui and Lahaina. Your handwriting and fingerprints are all over this scene. You also need to resign your position immediately and put yourself in the custody of state officials for conspiracy to murder until those things can be sorted out. I don't buy, and you should not buy either, the idea where the county and city officials of Maui determined that 115 people had died in the fire. 115 people that they had allegedly identified. Then they took that number down to 97 and then down to 66. Why? Why? And now it's 66 and 80. 148 people that either died in this fire or they don't know where they are. What are the real reasons? What are the real numbers? Inquiring minds want to know. Deborah G. says, I also believe this was done on purpose. All the evidence shows that it was done on purpose. All the evidence shows it was done on purpose. And I'm going to ask another question. We have a lot of trees over there on Maui and Lahaina. Why were those trees burned and their top foliage remains green? Inquiring minds want to know. Why were homes with blue roofs and cars that were colored blue and t-shirts that were colored blue not incinerated in the fire? Again, do weapons. Do weapons. Different color lasers. Different color light, bright light, laser light can cause that to happen. Okay? Obviously, there are still a lot of people that are grieving. Well, obviously, there are a lot of people still grieving over what happened there in Lahaina and West Maui. A lot of people still have not recovered the remains of their family members, and yet this soil is being put into 55-gallon drums and shipped to the mainland. This also needs to be stopped immediately. A full investigation must happen before anything is touched. When they put up the fence around Lahaina and West Maui, I thought that's what was going to happen. It has not happened. Instead, government officials, including the governor, the mayor, and the police chief, are proceeding on as if nothing happened to rebuild Maui and Lahaina. There are no obvious solutions for families who find themselves in a situation that was unimaginable just a month or so ago. Back when students and parents were buying school supplies, getting excited about their new teachers and their new school year. Many of Lahaina's families are staying with friends or family elsewhere on Maui, or in emergency hotel rooms or Airbnb places until they can find room. Governor Gangrene went on the air about a week ago and detailed how he's making this, that, and the other thing available to victims of the fires. There's other questions that remain, Governor, and I want answers. I want answers. Governor Green, you have my telephone number. Advisors to Governor Green, you have my telephone number. We want answers, and we want the truth. And I'm not going away until we have the absolute 100% truth. And then I'll back down. Or I won't back down, I'll back off. We want answers, guys. Governor Green, I give you full, ample opportunity to come on this channel. Not on the mainstream media that you control. I'm offering you the opportunity to come clean on this channel. Emergency Management Associates. Emergency Management Associates. Why? Because we demand answers to a disaster, to an emergency that happened in your state. Governor Green, I offer this channel to you to get the truth out. I'm giving it to you to get the truth out. Don't put it on the mainstream media that you control, that you can sideways glance at them or wink at them. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. To say I'm mad is not even putting it right. I am furious. I am furious. For the authorities to talk about two Lahaina children that had been confirmed dead, a 7-year-old boy and a 14-year-old boy, officials still have not identified most of the other victims that are known to have died, or the ultimate death toll that may even be higher than they're saying. I shouldn't say may, because I believe it is much higher than what they are saying. For now, the Hawaii Department of Education has offered two options for Lahaina students who are survivors: to take the bus to schools elsewhere on Maui or enroll in a remote learning program similar to how students were enrolled during COVID-19 closures. Yes, folks, I'm saying that word that I thought I'd never say again. And I'm warning you two, you take me down over it, and I will sue the hell out of you. Not going to happen again. The firefighter that you see here, her name is Miss Kohler. Considering signing her son up for remote classes, but believe students should return to the school in the West Maui community they know is home as soon as possible. I told you what the Department of Education wanted: for students to be bussed around. Like this mother firefighter, I believe that the students should be able to return to their home schools in their home communities as soon as possible. 3 other public schools, Princess Nahianea Elementary School, Lahaina Intermediate School, and Lahaina Luna High School, remain largely intact, with only some damage from wind and debris and ash. Other Lahaina parents believe that the focus should be on reopening these campuses and ensuring that they are safe. They do not want their children to ride the bus for 45 minutes each way, or road that they say is often closed because of car accidents or other hazards. Some residents also doubt the school system's ability to run buses efficiently. Now, I'm also going to ask the question, where are the school buses? Where are the school buses? Someone has a very grainy picture of what appears that it might be a school bus over at a military installation, but it is too grainy to identify exactly whether or not it's a school bus. I'm asking what happened to the school buses and what happened to the children. Again, there are 2,401 students still missing. 2,401 students still missing. Firefighter Kohler, who has her 2 children near her now, says, as far as the younger kids go, we as parents want to keep them real close right now. They've been through the fire 5 years ago, they've been through COVID, and now they've been through all this other funny business with fires and houses burning down. Challenges remain. Some parents fear the possible health concerns that persist after the fire and the potential emotional strain on the children and on their families who attend school just steps away from what their town was. Their town was all but destroyed, and so many of their friends and neighbors have died. Emotional strain. PTSD is real. Teachers and school employees are also struggling to stabilize their lives. Michelle DiBaldo, who is a second grade special education teacher at King Kamehameha III Elementary School, has said, living in a hotel since escaping the fire, which has also burned down her home and charred most of what she owned. At least 103 teachers and employees of Lahaina schools have reported their homes burned down, but all staff members believe to have survived the fire. Keith Hayashi, the man who we talked to about before, who is the superintendent of the Hawaii public school system, said at a board meeting last week, teachers have been paid administrative leave since the fire. Ms. DiBaldo said that she wanted to get back to teaching to help her students, help them get back to some semblance of normal, but that she did not yet have what she needed to return to teaching school. She said, "I miss my students. I love my job more than anything. How am I supposed to go back to work when I don't have clothes to work in? I lost everything." On Monday, Ms. DiBaldo and other Lahaina teachers met at a hotel with Education Department officials, and with many of them crying, shared their stories and the criticism. Robert Livermore, a first grade teacher, also organized a meeting along a beach near Lahaina to gather suggestions from parents, frustrated by a lack of information from the state. That teacher collected 200 responses, and the vast majority of parents said they were interested in sending their children back to Lahaina if the schools reopened. King Kamehameha III Elementary is a very special school, Livermore said. It's not like any other elementary school you could ever work at. We've got surfing lessons right outside the kindergarten windows. You got the sound of the ocean in the cafeteria. It's an amazing place. The future of that school, which is more than a century old, is now up in the air. The roof has been blown off, torn off. The walls have been scorched and windows blown out. State officials told teachers on Monday that they would establish a temporary site while they made plans for a new campus. Some parents have suggested creating one in a hotel ballroom or another space in West Maui for the time being. In a striking example of the unevenness of the fire's consequences in the aftermath of fire, remember Miss Kimo's children? Her twin sister received a coveted spot at the private Maui Preparatory Academy, 20 minutes north of the burn zone, and quickly returned to school. But Kima was not admitted to the school. More than 700 students had applied for admission after the fire. Maui Prep said it had space for only 140 of them. 140 of them. What happened to the other 560? Ruben Pauli, who grew up in Lahaina and runs an after-school music class for students, feared that sending children to schools elsewhere on the island, what many on Maui call the other side, could exacerbate the loss of community in Lahaina. He noted that many Hawaiians had already left Maui in recent years because they were priced out of living. He said, "We're a tight, small community, and being dispensed and dispersed with is like dispersing your family. It tugs at the heartstrings and kicks you in the gut." Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking each of you to call and write your senators and your congressmen. Something has got to stop. Something has got to stop. I demand an investigation. I demand a complete and thorough investigation of what happened here. And Governor Gangrene, Mayor Bisson, Chief Pelletier, you better resign your jobs because we're coming for them. You will go to jail. After the investigation is done, you will be going to jail. We know how the fire started. Again, I'm asking you to get hold of your state representatives, your federal representatives and senators, and demand an investigation, an immediate investigation be done into the wildfire on Lahaina. This was a purposeful fire. Property has been completely incinerated and people have died. That makes this whole area a crime scene that we're not going to let go. Please consider that. Please consider this. I came on the air to talk about this because I am not letting it go. When Stephen Benoon and Dave Hodges come on the air and had the information that I had, I thought, okay, it's time to let the entire bag go. I'm not going to be taken down alone. Okay? Yes, I was a little bit concerned that if I came out with this information, at least too soon, and yes, I still have information that I am vetting. I still have information that I'm vetting that I'm not fully putting out yet. But I'm telling you guys, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. People died for nothing. People have died and lost everything. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we have discussed here this morning? Okay? Deborah G says, when God and Jesus are going to be completely fed up? Yeah. She says she wonders when. I'm sure they already are. Betty Zoom says, pursue the criminals. Absolutely. My buddy Surgery's here. I welcome him back. He works a couple of different jobs, and he's not always able to be here, but I'm grateful for him to be here. He says it sounds like a big rabbit hole. My buddy Al Sanchez is here from Los Angeles saying, thank you for your detailed report. Well, thank you for being here. Does anybody have any questions? Write your questions down because I'm not going away. I will answer as many questions as I possibly can if you guys have questions. And if I don't have the answer, I will get the answer. Roger Reynolds says, most don't even care about the people, it's dollars. Yeah, it's dollars, guys. It's people's lives. It's people's lives that were caused by the greed of money. The greed of money is the root of all evil. People died because of this money. And I'm dead sure of it. Okay? And like I said, I will be getting more and more information through my vetting process. And like I said, I don't put my foot in my mouth before I know it's true. It doesn't come on my air unless I can prove it. Susan Sater says, it's dark and evil, worse than imaginable. I agree. This is worse than ever anything I could ever before even think about. It's bad. Guys, we're going to be coming back on the air in about 3 hours. I'm going to be interviewing tonight our buddy Dave Delisle from Canada. and hopefully our friend Barry Prince. Barry Prince. I hope you guys come back this evening at 6 p.m. for Emergency Management Associates. We're going to be talking about Canada. We're going to be talking about politics in Canada and the United States. We're going to be talking about the fires that continue to burn in Canada and what is being done. So guys, be here or be square. I'm sure we are going to have a lot of interesting things to talk about tonight. I know for a fact. Aubrey's here says, did U.S. direct the dues? Yeah. Yes, the DEWS were directed by the United States. This was not a Chinese thing. Some people, and I will say this, and I probably should have said this in the beginning when I talked about the dues. Some people thought it was the Chinese that did it. And even on this air a couple weeks ago, we mentioned it. Because yes, the Chinese were allegedly conducting operations in space over Hawaii. At least they admitted that. I think they were admitting that so what actually happened would be covered up. Okay? I don't think the Chinese had anything to do with it. This was a U.S.-led operation. I believe it was a corporate deal involving money and property. Okay? Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Also, for those of you that are here, I would love donations if you have donations. I hate even talking about it. But it takes money to keep this operation online, unfortunately. Prices still keep going up. It's sad. I hate begging for money. I don't want to seem like I am. But we have two PayPal locations directly below this video today. We also have a Venmo location, and we also have our post office box that's directly in front of you on the banner here, which is P.O. Box 422, Valdese, V-A-L-D-E-S-C, North Carolina. Zip code is 28690. I told you about a lady from California that sent us a good donation yesterday in the mail, and I appreciate that. And the beautiful card to go along with it. It's greatly appreciated. Guys, I'm going to let you go. We're going to get ready for the 6 o'clock program. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I hope you have a great day and a better tomorrow. Please again join us at 6 p.m. tonight for Emergency Management Associates with our guests Dave Delisle and Barry Prince from Canada. Have a good one, guys. We love you. We care about you. If you have questions, please drop them in our email, or if you are privy to messenger chats, go over there and leave me a message chat, or send me a message, and I will get back with you about it, or I'll put the answer out here on the air tonight or in the coming days. Our telephone number's here. You can get hold of us almost 24/7, except when I'm asleep and don't even hear the phone ring. Have a good night, guys. Have a good day. We will be back on the air tonight. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe, everybody. God be with you till we meet again. See you soon. God bless.